Adams says this indictment is based on lies. You know what's so funny? Isn't this picture weird right here? Hold on, I'm going to share it with y'all. Ain't this crazy? Ain't this picture crazy now? Talk about foreshadowing. This is the craziest picture ever. This is the craziest picture ever now. Talk about foreshadowing. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. I bet you that when they took this picture, they never could have predicted, never could have imagined that they will both probably be locked up in the same jail together. Eric Adams, just a little while ago, was giving, we ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now. As this bad boy for life. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We can't be stopped now. As this bad boy for life. It's crazy. What foreshadowing. Talk about what they predicted for themselves. This is why I don't even shake people's hands no more. I just be like, what up, though? Give them dap. Give me a little bit of hand sanitizer. Crick, crick, crick. And keep it moving. Anyways, so did it. Take that. Is now locked up. They saying that he's not eating. However, Eric Adams is the latest. He took the news off of Diddy. Listen, if you ever get yourself in trouble or you ever get trapped in a controversy, remember this. You only got 1 week to deal with it. Whatever controversy you got coming up in your life, you got 1 week. You got 1 week of fame. That's it. Just be quiet. You know why? Because it's going to be somebody else that come right behind you and top you out. Y'all got Diddy? We got Eric Adams. This is AOC. They asked her about Mayor Eric Adams and what she thinks that he should do. Take a look.
Right now, I think this is squarely about Mayor Adams' ability to govern New York City and for the New York City governance to be fully staffed to serve the people of New York City. And frankly, under this constant stream of scandal, I do not know if the city will be able to even name replacements for all of these resignations and vacancies at this point. And so it is a very unfortunate time. We do not want to see this happening in our city, but unfortunately it is. And I think for the best of the city and so that we can continue to staff the administration of the city, it would be best for Mayor Adams to step aside.
So they're all turning on each other. They're eating each other's lunch. The same way that they threw Biden out, a little different, not the same way, but the same way that they do Biden out, they're calling for Adams to resign. So here's my question as we go through, because Eric Adams actually made a statement, and I'm going to play that statement for you guys right now. He came out and he addressed the allegations immediately. Who is going to take Eric Adams' place? Because we know he can't get reelected. That's not going to happen. The feds is going to lock him up. That will happen. He says that he's going to fight. That doesn't matter. Who's going to take his place? Who's going to be the next Don of New York City? Here's Eric Adams' statement for the indictment.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes.
No kidding, Sherlock.
If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target. And a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit. If I'm charged, I know I am innocent. I will request an immediate trials so the New Yorkers can hear the truth. New Yorkers know my story. They know where I come from. I have been fighting injustice my entire life. That fight has continued as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics.
Before we go further, hold on. Is he sending a message? Let's back up for a minute.
Federal government as your mayor. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics.
Hold on, let me back up for a minute. Because you know me, I start digging, because my memory serves me a little bit differently. I start digging and I start digging.
Nicole Maliotakis is the Republican from New York, and she joins me now to talk about this. Congresswoman, good morning. Look, let's begin. I know you're not a fan of this plan, right?
Well, of course I'm not a fan of this plan. It's absolutely outrageous. Not only does New York City have a housing crisis, we have an affordability crisis. People are renting apartments in New York City for thousands and thousands of dollars. People are having difficulty paying their mortgage, paying their rent, keeping up with their property taxes that have increased year after year. And the mayor is now telling hardworking taxpayers that they need to pay so individual who crossed into our country illegally at the border last week can live rent-free. I mean, what planet are we living on? It's absolutely outrageous. And the mayor, I've said it before, needs to challenge, and he is, by the way, finally, after I've been calling for him for a year, to challenge this right to shelter law. It's finally going to go before a judge, because this was intended for homeless New Yorkers, right? Citizens who fell on difficult times, became homeless, to give them a shelter, not for individuals who just entered our country last week or citizens of other countries. And, you know, it's just, of course, this is going to continue to just incentivize individuals to come over our border. That's exactly what's going to happen. He says they keep coming because you're giving them free housing.
Now, if I am charged, many may say I should resign because I cannot manage the city while fighting the case. I can also understand how everyday New Yorkers will be concerned that I cannot do my job while I face accusation. But I have been facing these lies for months since I began to speak out for all of you and their investigation started. Yet the city has continued to improve. Make no mistake, you elected me to lead this city, and lead it I will. I humbly ask for your prayers and your patience as we see this through. God bless you, and God bless the city of New York. Thank you.
He going down, buddy. You going down. I mean, that's just the reality of it. He's going down. He's absolutely 100% going down. Let me see if I can find something really quickly. That's it. It's over for him. I'm trying to look for a specific video that I remember, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Here's the thing. This is what I think is happening. This is my opinion, and this is what's really happening. I think that Eric Adams is dirty. I do. I think that Eric Adams is dirty. But I also think that dirty politicians, and this is my opinion, based off of everything that I know and all of this coverage that I've been doing over the last few years, I believe that Eric Adams is dirty. 100%. I think that most of these politicians, 95 to 98% of these politicians, is dirty. Of course, I believe that, especially considering that he made all of his homies, all of his administration. Of course, I believe that they're funneling money. Of course, I believe that all of these shell companies that's getting all of these billions of dollars from this migrant crisis is playing out. Absolutely. But guess what? Guess what's so beautiful about it? Is that the dirtiest ones make the best politicians. Why? Because they can be controlled. The dirtiest people make for the best politicians because they can be controlled. You play ball over here, and again, this is my opinion. You play ball over here, you gonna benefit from it. Yeah, you gotta sell out the American taxpayers. Yeah, you gotta sell out your community. Yeah, you gotta throw other people under the bus. Yeah, we gotta divert tax funds over to this thing. But guess what? You play ball, you win. You stop dribbling, you play ball, you win. You stop dribbling, because if they ain't got no dirt on you, it's hard to control you. You can't control somebody that's not worried or don't care. That's hard. You can only control people that care about their well-being, yet they still doing things that they're not supposed to do. That's what makes you, that's what makes saints so weak. Saints are so easily compromised. Christians, people that say that they love God, they're easily compromised. You know why? Because they still care. And when you still care, you can be controlled because you still got dirt on you. So if you a saint, but you still playing, if you got feet, if you have feet in both sides, you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? Let's say you still got some stuff going on in your life, or you still got some dirt on you, or you still involved in some stuff or whatever, but you've been getting away with it for a long time, but then at the same time, you got a conscience, or you feel like you're still a good person. Those are the most easily controlled people. Why? Because they care, yet they still have things in their background that they worried about being revealed, and so they learn how to play ball in order to exist. Now, if you on one side or the other, it's way more difficult. Because if you don't care, or you 100% clean and they ain't got no dirt on you, they don't trust you. People that are doing things that are dirty can't trust people that's not dirty. Now, some people may get clipped. Some people may go to jail. Some people may be some collateral damage, but we keep the existing infrastructure and the whole charade up the entire time so that we can continue to enrich ourselves. And we may sell out the American people, or we may give them a couple crumbs here and there, or we may go out there and pitch them a message of hope and love and joy. And we shouldn't be so divisive. But they never let the left hand find out what the right hand is doing. And the right hand never know what the left hand is doing. And so they pitch this to you in the message of love and civility and joy. But you know one thing about the Word of God? You know one thing about the Bible? Because I take all of my lessons straight from the scriptures and then I apply it to my regular life. I didn't see a whole lot of that in there. You know what I seen? Warring for righteousness' sake. Suffering for righteousness' sake. Winning over souls. And in all of those situations, it was warring for principalities and spirituality and real life situations where they had to go and overtake the enemy. Love, joy, and peace was within. But love, joy, and peace was not something that God ever sold the people on. You know why? Because he told them, if you suffer with me, you'll reign with me. And so it's easier to manipulate people that want to do good but still got bad and not willing to give it all up. Why? Because they can be controlled. In the minute, in my opinion, this is what I believe. The minute that Eric Adams stopped being controlled was when his whole life started to fall apart. The federal government distanced themselves and the people in power distanced themselves from Eric Adams a long time ago. They stopped accepting his cause a long time ago. The fact that he can't even get through to the White House, that nobody ever asked for New Yorkers' endorsement, that the most powerful and populated city in the United States of America that the person that's at the forefront of that movement, he never got no movement at all? He knew what was coming. That's why he's saying what he's saying. He's speaking in code, but he's telling you what he really thinking. He's speaking in code, but he's telling you what he really thinking, because two things can be true at the same time. You can be dirty and you can decide that you don't want to play ball once the ball starts dribbling in your court. When you grow a conscience, that's when you grew what? You got a conscience. Book him, Dano. Book him, Dano. That is correct, Foxhole 99. He showed up to the White House in person, and they did not want to see him. He showed up to the White House in person, and they did not want to see him. They said, you go home. You go home. You don't go here. You don't come here. You go home. You don't come here. You don't come here. No. Now they calling for his resignation. Everybody is distancing themselves away from him. Don't nobody want to kick it with him no more. Don't nobody want to play ball. Everybody has completely removed themselves. Meanwhile, Biden showed up on The View yesterday on a love campaign, because we're greater together than we are apart. We're greater together than we are apart. Check this out. Hold on. Check this out. I want to show y'all something. This was well over a year ago. All right? This was well over a year ago. Let me show you something.
President Biden is spending another day in New York City, meeting with world leaders at the United Nations General Assembly, and later on holding a campaign event.
But he's not scheduled to meet with the city's Democratic mayor, Eric Adams. You'd think the two would be on the same page, but the pair is avoiding each other, reportedly, because of tensions over what should be done about the migrant crisis, which Mayor Adams is largely placing on President Biden and the administration. Dre Clark is there in New York City for us live. And Dre, we know Mayor Adams has already said that this crisis is going to, quote, destroy the city that they know and love. And it sounds a lot like Governor Abbott of Texas.
Well, I think Governor Abbott is sitting this one out for a while and allowing the two powerful Democrats to engage in a war of words. The mayor says he just doesn't see eye to eye with the president on this issue. But meanwhile, President Biden has been here in New York City since Sunday. He's been seen around town attending dinner parties and political fundraisers, but he has not stopped by any migrant shelters. The Roosevelt Hotel here behind me is an intake center for newly arriving migrants. It's just a few blocks away from the UN, where the president spoke yesterday. Some people say the president's choice not to address the migrant crisis publicly is retaliation against the mayor, who has said repeatedly that he believes the White House and the federal government is failing to act.
In the shadows of the UN General Assembly, the migrant crisis is unfolding on the streets of New York City. But a face-to-face meet and greet between President Biden and New York Governor Kathy Hochul Tuesday could be moving the needle forward. The governor saying late last night on X, formerly.
So think about this for a second. Kathy Hochul, or Hochul, I don't know how you pronounce her name, who was the governor of New York, said she had a very productive conversation with President Biden tonight regarding some of the specific requests for help, also commending him on his leadership at the UN today. Eric Adams,
Twitter, she had a productive conversation about getting help with the growing migrant crisis. New York City Mayor Eric Adams was not a part of that meeting, having only spoken with the president once earlier this year about the city's desperate need for federal funding. The mayor says right now there are no plans to meet with the president while he's in town.
You guys know where I am all the time. We'll release if we're going to be with the president or not.
The relationship between the mayor and president has gone from favorable to fragile. The mayor has been critical of the White House, saying it's been irresponsible in addressing the city's migrant crisis, and it shows a lack of leadership.
New York don't deserve this. The asylum seekers don't deserve this. And so while he's here, I think that they should really reflect on New York City has done its part.
One can.
More coming soon.